Today is Monday, October 9th. I've been on my New Mexico vacation for 1 week. I'm going to head south to Carlsbad Cavern, but right now it's early in the morning. I'm in Roswell, and the first thing I'm going to do is get me a bite to eat for breakfast. And here's where I decided to go, the Cowboy Cafe. I like this little design on the wall. It looks like the guy is making off with that lady's pie, and she is having nothing to do with that. This was a nice little restaurant. I'm really glad that I stopped here. Here's a couple items on the menu that really stood out, like the wash tub burrito, or how about the starving cowboy breakfast? Both sounded good, but I went with the hot rocks and Texas butter, better known as biscuits and gravy. And boy, am I glad I did. It was delicious. The chunks of sausage in it were huge. Here's a sign on the restroom door, no discrimination here. Here's a close-up of that sign. Just please wash your hands. Good advice. After that, I headed south on 285 towards the city of Carlsbad and eventually Carlsbad Cavern National Park. After a while, I started seeing signs pointing the way to the park. And after a while, I entered the park itself. There are two ways to get into the cave. One is this natural entrance pictured here. It is a steep 1.25 mile walk, equivalent to about 80 stories. Not recommended for people with bad knees like me or heart conditions. The second way is to take the elevator. It takes the elevator only a few minutes to drop 800 feet below the surface. Don't be surprised if your ears pop a couple times. I thought Carlsbad Cavern was totally amazing. I loved it. Cameras, flash, and tripods are allowed. The only bad thing was the lights were so dim, it was hard for me to get a good picture. Some of the shapes formed by nature were just unbelievable. Whether it's blazing hot outside or freezing cold, the caverns stay at 56 degrees Fahrenheit all year round, so make sure you dress accordingly to your needs. Humorist and social commentator Will Rogers once called the caverns the Grand Canyon with a roof over it. Some of these formations can get pretty bizarre looking down here. Now those stalactites are some giant monster's teeth ready to chomp down on you. There were several tunnels to walk through on the trail. I wonder what I'll see on the other side of this one. Nope, maybe I'll go back the way I came. Here's a formation called the Lion's Tail. Can you see it here? Mammoth Cave in Kentucky is home to the largest cave system on Earth, but the big room in Carlsbad Cavern is the largest single cave chamber by volume in North America. It is about 2,000 feet long, 1,100 feet wide, and its ceiling is 255 feet above the floor. After touring the cave, I got back in my car and headed toward my final destination for the day, the city of Alamogordo, about a 3-hour drive. I got there a little late and just had time to see the world's largest pistachio. It's fitting that this 30-foot tall nut is there, since the world's largest pistachio farm also happens to be in Alamogordo. This giant nut is at a place called Pistachio Land, but unfortunately I got there too late and it was closed. Too bad too, because they sell all sorts of different flavored pistachios. Not too far from the world's largest pistachio is the world's largest glowing heart. It is 26 feet tall and 20 feet wide. The writing below it reads, "The Heart of the Desert, Alamogordo, New Mexico." For this unique attraction, I was a little early. It wasn't quite dark enough to catch the full effect of the neon lights. After that, I went back to my motel and got some much needed sleep, ready for a busy day tomorrow. The next morning, I was up early, ready to have breakfast at the Rustic Cafe. Inside against the back wall was this really cool mural advertising the restaurant. Here's a picture of my really good bacon and eggs. And I especially like this mural on the other wall. "We appreciate you an awful lot." Well, thank you very much. The sun was just starting to peek over the mountains as I headed down to I-70 for about 20 miles to my next destination, the White Sands National Park. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Always nice to make a stop at the visitor center. Make my visit to the White Sands National Park official. Off in the distance, the skies had darkened and looked threatening. But with those threatening skies came a bonus, a double rainbow. Catching myself some good luck, but I never did find that pot of gold. I did get a few sprinkles out of those clouds, but as quickly as those dark clouds had shown up, they disappeared into some beautiful blue skies. Heading deeper into the park on a 16-mile scenic drive, the sand along the road looking like snowdrifts. Actually, it's not sand, it's gypsum, and the White Sands National Park is the biggest gypsum field in the world. The first 4 miles of the park's road is paved. After that, the rest is tightly packed gypsum sand. But don't worry, it's very easy to drive on. The gypsum sand stays cool to the touch. It reflects the light rather than absorbing it. Here's a picture of some of the futuristic-looking picnic spots that are available. It's hard to believe with all this peacefulness here, but did you know that the first atomic bomb was tested in July 1945, just 60 miles north of White Sands at the Trinity site? There are several marked trails in the park to hike, or if you want, you can just get out and walk among the dunes by yourself. But be aware that the blowing wind can cover up your footprints, making it easy to lose your way. Well, I've walked a ways out here now, and after a while these sand dunes start looking alike, and I don't know, I might be lost. Wait a second, what's that sound? Sweet baby Jesus playing with a box of matches. Get out of here. Wait till I go get my raid. After walking around in circles for a while, I spotted my car in the distance. I breathed a sigh of relief because I knew I was now safe and sound. Well, not sound. I don't think I've ever been of sound mind. Let me see. This is either a picture of a Rorschach test, a black and white psychedelic trip back to the 60s, or of a giant thumbprint. Here's a nice pristine dune without any footprints on it. I had a lot of fun here, but I knew it was time to get in my car and hit the road. Here I am on the road heading to my next destination, Las Cruces, about a 50-mile drive from the White Sands. As I'm getting closer to Las Cruces, there's some mountains appearing in the distance. Okay, I've came to an intersection and I'm in a little bit of trouble here. My doggone cell phone's ran out of juice, so I can't rely on it to tell me which way to go. I can either go this way, or I can go this way. Let me see. This way? No, that's a farting tarantula, the deadliest known tarantula to mankind. I better go this way. The first place I stopped after seeing Las Cruces was the Pat Garrett murder site. It was at this spot on February 29, 1908, that Pat Garrett, who, when as the Lincoln County Sheriff had shot and killed Billy the Kid in 1881, was himself murdered. Of course, back then, there wasn't a freeway with cars flying by right next door. Wayne Brazel, a local cowboy, confessed to the killing, but was acquitted of all charges. After that, I naturally headed over to the Masonic Cemetery in Las Cruces to find Pat Garrett's grave. I went to the cemetery headquarters, and not only did they tell me where to look, but brought out this nice book to sign as a guest. Those headstones lined up in a row are where the Garrett family members are buried. And here's Pat Garrett's grave. I had one more thing to see in Las Cruces before taking off, and that was the world's largest chili pepper. 47 feet long and made of 2.5 tons of concrete, You can find it in front of the Big Chili Inn. There were still some more things I wanted to see in Las Cruces, but I also wanted to get to Wilcox, Arizona for the night, and that was about a 3-hour drive away. On the way to Wilcox, I stopped off in the town of Bowie, Arizona to see the Earth Traveler signpost. Wooden arrows point to different cities in the world. Just take exit 362 and head to Dwayne's world-famous brisket jerky. Up near the top is London, England, 5,833 miles from here. Maybe I should? Nah, too far out of the way. That's it for this video. I've returned to Arizona, where I first started off this trip. And in the next video, I'll visit Chihuahua National Monument and Tombstone.